really need this 6 hours is not you. And when you think about it, like what could you get done if you didn't have that distraction? And then just turning around, doing something else, and filling your time with something productive, because if you're wasting like 6 hours a day on average, then, and that's something that's true, but if you are that you're wasting a lot of day, so you need to have some kind of motivation to get out there.
Okay, so you called it a waste, but when you're doing it, you don't feel like it's a waste, right? There's something engaging you. You're motivated to keep clicking and keep scrolling, right? Somehow, it's like there's something in there. Right. It's like in retrospect, it's like, what did I actually do or benefit from or receive from all that time I just spent? Yeah. Yeah.
I think we have other people that in our devotional, with Brother Downey and hard work the other day. But we talked a little bit about how social media affects our mental health and how it really affects your self-image because all you're seeing is everybody's best. And if you're comparing yourself to that, it's not very fair. And so you have to take into consideration that those people, they have bad days too, or maybe they never have days like they would picture and they're just protecting them. So things like that. So you just have to remember that they're not like perfect people. They're just portraying that because that's what people want to see.
Mm-hmm. And that's what we want people to see, right? We show our best side. We put our best foot forward for other people to see. It's like, so you're absolutely right. That comparison, wow, that could be trouble. Chase.
I'd argue there's also a lesson there for real life in what James said. Everybody's putting on some kind of facade. Nobody is showing exactly their true thoughts. So, like, think about that and be respectful of everyone, because someone you meet almost every day is having a bad day. So if you think about that and you're kind to that person, maybe it'll help lift them up. Maybe you won't, but don't have a negative effect on that person.
Okay, good. And that can be done digitally, right? You can communicate and you can lift people and send inspiring messages digitally. It can, you can do that. You have the power to do that. Oh, was that a hand? Oh, okay. Good. So I think I hear coming from the prophets, they're not saying, they're saying be wise and have balance, but they're not saying get rid of your device. Like, I haven't heard that. Like, let's us saints not be smartphone users. Like, that's not coming down from the prophets. They're saying, obviously, it's a fight they're not going to win, so they're not going to fight it, right? Social media is here to stay, and devices are here to stay. It's like, and they're only going to get more invasive in our lives, more entrenched. So it's like, what are they saying? What message do we hear from the prophets about social media?
So the prophets generally are like the leaders of the church, like generally advise you to kind of stay away from it. Like, it's still a good thing in some ways, but don't overuse it and don't use it for the wrong purpose. That's kind of what we're saying, I think. But it can bring a lot of benefits. Like, if you're trying to plan, like young man activities or young woman activities or something like that, you can just like send a text to somebody and plan it. It's just really easy. But some people will like abuse that, and if they get on social media, they'll just scroll and scroll and scroll, and it doesn't really.
Yeah, good. I think they're encouraging us to share our faith too. Like, share the side of you that can lift other people, what you believe, the good links to uplifting content and things like that.
They often, I guess, just to take like to social media.
Mhm.
There's kind of like 3 seconds, like you start in your own life, which is really important. But I would also think like a clarification that social media, like, I guess you can think of social media as whatever you would like to. I guess your opinion and these are my opinions, I guess. But like texting or music or things like that on your phone, like you might have like 4 hours a day average on your phone will tell you your average by like music. And they may be like 3 hours of listening to music, or you might be texting your friend or something. So like I would consider texting or something like that as like communication with your friend, which could be considered social media as it's social, but I just want to.
You're taking text out of social media category, right? Yeah, because it's direct communication with a person. Yeah, it's like a digital conversation.
We have like a maximum of 16 hours in a day. If you're up from 6 o'clock to 10 o'clock, that's 16 hours. So if you're using 6 or 7 of those, you're almost having your amount of time in a day that you're just sitting there doing nothing. Maybe you're like, if you analyze, like, say you're doing something. Say you're on your smartphone and you're doing something. That's cool. Have a purpose when you get on your smartphone. Don't get on it because you're bored. Don't get on it because you want to see what's up. If you have, well, actually, that's fine. That's a purpose. But have a purpose that will limit you. Like, that you won't be just like, well, I want to.
Mm-hmm.
And then your time, I've seen at least for me, your time is going to decrease. And as your time decreases, you're going to find that there's a lot more useful things that you can use your time for.
Yep. So distraction versus productivity.
Yeah.
Right. Charlie was talking about productivity. What I know from myself. Oh yes. Go.
There was actually a talk about this general conference about one of the women, I can't remember who it was, but she thought it would be good to put away her phone during when she's in the blinds and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So she did that, and then she was able to wish this dude a happy birthday. And she realized how important it is to be connected to the world and not to be connected to the world on the screen.
Through a screen.
Different.
Mm-hmm.
I think it really depends on who you are as a person. Your own needs.
Mm-hmm. Good. What I realize about myself is like sometimes, like when I'm getting ready to go to bed or something, I'm brushing my teeth. Like my Facebook time is the time I have when I brush my teeth, and that's it. Like it's limited to this time. And but sometimes when I go to pray, I still have my phone in my hand because I haven't put it on the nightstand or something. And I feel like every time, I gotta not be touching this when I pray. It's kind of interesting. I observed that about myself. I'm like, I need to connect here, and I don't even want to be touching this thing. Not that it's like bad, but it's just like I don't want it attached to me. It's like kind of attached to this loop to my body, and it's like I don't like that feeling for me. It doesn't feel good. So I put it away, like away from me, and I can pray without feeling like this thing, this weight, this distraction, this something on me, right? That's an observation I have about myself. I also observed that when Simon, our oldest son, who's now on a mission in Chicago, if you don't know, like when he first was like, I want a phone. All my friends have phones and you guys are mean. You won't let us get any phones, and we've really, as parents, really pushed back a lot against introducing that into our family culture. And so by hook or by crook or somehow he ended up, finagling a phone from his buddy. And there were times when I couldn't even explain to myself the rage that I felt toward that thing. It's like, why? Like, why am I feeling this? And I would be like, I'd talk myself down, like, that's not reasonable. Like, I don't know if he's doing something inappropriate. I'm like, how do I don't really know. But I would just feel so mad at it. I don't want to chuck it, like take it and chuck it out into the street and let it get run over by a semi. I was like, this is not good. And I don't really understand it. But what I did understand eventually is that like, this is a tool. It is an in for the adversary to work on you. That if it wasn't there, would not be as easy. And I think that's true. It's a tool that can hurt and harm. It's a tool for good too. But I felt that deep inside me that, man, this thing is kind of dangerous for my family, for my kids. So we got to really watch out and be careful about this stuff. And I think that was wisdom that I didn't fully understand what was coming at me at the time. But I just knew like I wanted to resist it. It's not just an old guy not getting up with the times, right? It's like there's something about me that has to protect my family, and that is kind of like an enemy in a way. It has the potential to be. Make sense? Just gotta watch out, be careful. Any other comments to help our friend in here with this question? Okay. Well, I am really excited about what we're gonna talk about today, guys. So first, turn to your neighbor and share what you wrote on the question on the other side of this board. Why is this true? I am not my thoughts. Just, 30 seconds each, turn and share. Why is it true that you are not your thoughts? Your thoughts are somehow different or separate from you, the core you. Okay, you two go, and let's just pair up. Go ahead. So it's like two here, right? Two, it's you guys. It's the two of you, it's you, it's you. I'd like to hear from Emma and Barrett and Ben. Your thoughts on this? Okay, Emma, Barrett, and Ben, and then anybody else who really wants to share something. What are your thoughts on that? Why am I not my thoughts? You're thinking about it differently? Good. So how is that? I'm curious about that. Well, you're not first. That's it? Okay. Cool. Love it. Right.
So it says determined resolution mechanics. You think of like resolve. When people have resolve, like they just know, like in their heart something is true. They're like up there, like certain on that. So it's like our brain gets way back versus like Satan. So it's good to have that.
Okay. So then the question is, how do the evil forces sort of persuade us? You don't have to answer that question, but like if we have determined resolutions, like sort of in our mind, and then there's some opposition to that, how does that come to us? How are you not your thoughts, Ben?
Well, I'm thinking about it more right now, and I think that very few thoughts are our own. Like eating is a natural instinct. I think most things like, I like you, so I'm gonna talk to you. That's the spirit telling you, hey, go talk to that guy. Or I like that girl, and I'm gonna go do it. That's the devil. Okay, you should go do that. So I think either it's good and bad. So you're like, good is the spirit, bad is the devil. Natural instinct is like, I want to go to sleep and shower and eat.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's great. There's something different from instinct about how thought comes to us. Are all of your thoughts generated from you? They're not. So then where do they come from? Can you even explain your thoughts? I mean, can you actually explain it? Where your ideas come from? Or if you get a notion to do something or a creative something, like, can you even explain where that comes from? But you, remember, you were an intelligence, clothed upon with a spirit body in heaven. Now you're clothed upon with a mortal body. And who you are goes through all of those things. You haven't changed. You, the you, is the you that lived for millions or billions of years in heaven before you came here. That's you, right? So then what is this brain thing that you're working with right now and this body thing, right? You are the baby that's there, like the blob on the ground. That's like, is that all that baby is? No, there's so much more to that thing, right? There's so much more to it because it can't even think. It doesn't even know it exists outside of its mother, right? So it's like, we're not our thoughts. We are more than that. So where do they come from and how do we work with them? Okay? How do we have conversations with them? And that's what this story is about. And it's such an awesome story. So Moroni, if you'll remember, Moroni had the title of liberty. Amalickiah wanted to be king. He created an insurrection. There was going to be a civil war. Moroni went with his armies and put that thing to rest. Amalickiah runs off to the Lamanites with a little group of guys. And then Moroni's like, okay, the rest of you king men, basically, you're either for us or you're against us. And if you're against us, if you're not for freedom, if you won't take up your sword and defend your country, then you get to die. You don't get to live here. And you don't get to go join the enemy either. We're going to kill you. And so they did. Very few people didn't be like, okay, all right, we'll support freedom. Right? A few people lost their lives. But now Amalickiah is over among the Lamanites. And what does he do? At the beginning of Alma 47, Amalickiah goes to inspire the Lamanites to do what? To go fight the Nephites. But what had just happened the year before? They got beat badly, soundly. Like they got whooped and they got sent home without their swords. And, it's like they lost that battle at the river of Sidon, right? They got outsmarted and outfought. And so they went home with a promise to never come back and fight again. And they didn't have any weapons. The whole army lost their swords and stuff. And now the king is being like, you guys have to go fight again because now we're angry again. How did the people respond? Most of them. Alma 47, let's open it up. Let's get into the text a little bit. I'm sorry, deeply sorry that we won't be able to do this whole story justice in the time that we have because it's so amazing and helpful. But so we're in Alma 47. Have it open. We don't have time to read all the great way the words are written. But what happens is Amalickiah is among them, okay? Now, instead of you being a Nephite, now you're a Lamanite that doesn't want to fight, okay? That's you in this story, okay? You're living among a people, a culture, a society where Amalickiah is present and they're telling you to go to war, okay? That's temptation. You can't get away from it, guys. Like, it's here to stay. You can't run from influences that are trying to drag you down. You have to know what to do or that's going to take you out. So they're there. There's a proclamation sent to everybody to go fight. What happens in verse 2? They feared to go to battle against the Nephites lest they should lose their lives. They're like, no, I'm not going to go fight you. I'm not going to go sin. That is bad. That will hurt me. That's scary. So I'm going to stay away from it. And the king gets mad, right? And goes to chase them and to compel them to fight. It's like, Amalickiah, you go make them pick up their swords and we're going to go to war. And the people ran away. They went to Oneida, which is a place of arms. And they went up into the top of a mountain called Antipas. So this group of people, peace-loving not loving. They don't want to die by the hand of the Nephites. So they go run up into the top of this hill and gather together. Okay, who's their leader? Who knows? Starts with an L. Lahontai, right. So Lahantai's up there at the top of Antipas. And they're like, we're not going to fight. Okay, we are not going to go to war again. First, we said we wouldn't. And second, we don't want to die because we don't have swords and we are not ready to go to war. All right, so then what happens? They say, no, I'm not going to sin, and they get some pushback. Does that happen in your life too? You put up resistance to influences that are not helpful to you, and what happens? They don't just fall over and go away. It's like you get pushback. You get rebuttals from those influences. They keep coming at you. So that's what they had to do. They ran away. They gathered together, did all the right things, right? Distance yourself from the sin, gather together like we talked about. They prepared themselves for battle. They got their arms ready from Oneida, whatever they had up there in that area. So then what happens in verse 6? Let's read verse 6. And Brogan, are you there? It's Alma 47, verse 6.
Yeah.
And that's not important, and to be king and to live over them. And fixing their minds that the determined to do with the thing would not be subject to their own community.
Okay. I love this phrase, and it's good to commit it to memory. Fixing their minds with a determined resolution. It doesn't sound like they could get any more convinced that they don't want to go to war, right? It's like they're fixed in their minds with a determined resolution that they're not going to do that thing that will hurt them, that will get them killed, that will harm them. They're not going to sin, okay? They're sure of it. And they've done the things. They've separated themselves. They've prepared themselves. They've got the arms, and they're in the top of a mountain, all right? And they're gathered. So they're sure that they're not going to do this. So what does Amalickiah do? He's in verse 8. It wasn't Amalickiah's intention to give them battle. What did he want to do? He wanted to gain favor with them so that he could dethrone them and place himself at the head of their kingdom. Right? What does the evil one want to do with you? He wants to make himself the ruler of you, right? He wants to make him king over you and your choices. That is his intent. Now, if he can't do that by coming right out and saying, hey, why don't you, if I was to hand you, a joint right now, you'd be like, no, right? So it's like you can't come right out, and he's like, I can't come right out and convince them to do bad stuff, because it's too much too fast. Right? So he's like, I'm not going to give them battle. I'm going to gain favor with them. I've got a different strategy, and this will work much better. So what does he do in verse 9? And it came to pass that he caused his army to pitch their tents in the valley, which was near the Mount Antipas. What does this indicate? They're setting up camp. Is this a temporary effort by Amalickiah? What does this indicate that they've pitched their tents down there? They're in it for the long haul. He doesn't want to fight them. Initially, he's like, okay, they don't want to join us, they don't want to sin, fine. I can be patient. I'm in this for the long haul. I've got the long view with this person and how I'm going to work with them to get them to come over to my side. So he's pitched his tent at the bottom of your hill, right? He's camping out. He's ready to be patient with you, to keep working on you to gain favor with you. Okay. So at night, verse 10. So what Amalickiah sends a secret embassy up the mountain to Lahontai that says he should come down to the foot of the mount, for he desired to speak with him. Oh, this is so amazing. I hope that this is you see the application for you, for me. So he sent an embassy up to come down and speak with him. No, I don't need to fight you. I don't want to fight. Just come down and talk. Let's just talk. Let's just have a conversation. So in verse 11, and it came to pass that Lahontai received the message, and he durst not go down. It's like, no. I don't want that. No thanks. Like, I'm not going there. I'm not going down from this gathered place on top of this hill where I have my swords and my people. So Amalek's like, okay. So he sent the second time, desiring him to come down. And it came to pass that Lahontai would not. And he sent again the third time. Verse 12, and it came to pass that when Amalekah found that he could not get Lahontai to come down off the mount, you've resisted sin multiple times. I'm not going to do that. No. I have the thought to do something, but I don't have to do everything I think. So no, I'm not going to do that. I'm in control of what I do. I'm not in control of the thoughts that come into my head, though. I don't have to do everything I think. So he's like, no, I'm not. So the third time, what does Amalekah do after the third time? He goes up, halfway up the mountain. It's like, okay, you're not going to come to me? I'll come to you. I'll just get a little closer. I'm not super threatening yet, but I'm just a little bit closer now. And he desires again the fourth time that Lahontai would come down and bring people with you. Bring your guards with you. So what did Lahontai do in verse 13 of chapter 47? It came to pass that Lahontai had come down with his guards to Amalekah. And Amalekah shared with him his plan. So eventually, Lahontai comes down. He agrees to the plan. He has no idea that what the conversation that he's had and coming down from the mount is going to lead to his death. He doesn't understand that. So Lahontai comes down with his men. They surround Amalekah's army. Amalekah's army wakes up in the morning and they're surrounded by Lahontai army. So they're like, please don't make us fight. These are like our cousins and our brothers, and we don't really want to fight them. So let's just not fight. And Amalekah's like, you're right. Yeah, let's just turn over. Let's just give up and let Lahontai be the leader. We don't want to die. They've got us surrounded. This is a pointless battle, right? So then they join into one army. Okay, Lahontai and his men buy into the plan. Eventually, they give in. They wear down. They come down after enough efforts when it seems like they're not threatening. And they're one army. And what does Amalekah do? Who knows the story? Who knows the story? What does Amalekah do then with Lahontai?
Kills him.
How does he kill him?
Wasn't he poisoned?
Poisoned how?
By degrees.
Poisoned by degrees until he died. Is that not meaningful? Poisoned by degrees until he died, until he was killed. Okay, so then eventually Amalekah becomes the king of all of the Lamanites. He establishes himself in a matter of months as the head of the entire Lamanite nation. This guy is smart. He's very conniving. So what do we learn from this story about us? And we have like 30 seconds to do this. It's like the conversation, right? He wanted him to come down and just speak with him. That conversation we have with our thoughts, our tempting thoughts, is where it begins. If we don't come down and have the conversation, nobody will know. It's like, it's not that bad. It's not the whole big thing. It's just like a little taste of something, or a little flavor of this, or a little experience, a little curiosity explored, right? We have that conversation and we justify it. Doesn't seem like a big deal. So we come down a little and we have that conversation. And that's when we get in trouble. And by degrees, we get poisoned until it takes us out. And I'll leave that with you in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. Who's on the closing prayer? Okay.